Welcome, welcome, Rent Assistance Partners. This is Peggy, the Interim Executive Director with the Human Services Alliance. And I just want to say thank you again for your hard work, your efforts, and your willingness to provide rent assistance to our community in need, as well as today we are going to talk about those expanded benefits that we were able to apply to rent assistance, and now also the other ARPA services that you offer. So you're going to get a double whammy of training today. I will be passing this off to Tashbia and Wynn as they walk you through the process. And certainly we don't mind being interrupted, but there is a flow to it, and they've been figuring out what they want to say and in what order. But we will absolutely have questions at the end. And of course, this is being recorded, so you can go back and review it anytime. And does anyone have questions before I turn it over, before we jump in? No? All right. Well, welcome. Thank you. And Tashbia, Wynn, take it away.
All right. So before we get started, one, I need to plug my computer in before it dies. This happened last night. And then my question is, does anybody care if we borrow their organization for the run through so that way I can fill out the practice form?
Pick one. Whose do you want to do?
So let's do, who can I?
You've got all.
Which one?
Creatures, Edufuturo, and St. Thomas is on the line.
Let me see. Edufuturo, do you guys mind if I borrow your organization for this? For the run through?
No, absolutely not. Good afternoon. I love the idea. The whole team is here, so it's actually they're on the field, you know. I love that idea. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm going to pull up the new expenditure report, and then I'm going to plug my computer in real fast. I love having a power protector right next to my computer. Alrighty, so let me screen share and show you guys our brand new form. So I'm going to preview this. I got to get everyone off my screen. So this is our new expenditure form, and what it is as applicants, you guys are now going to start out with this lovely opening area of usable resources. So we took some time and gathered up all of these documentation pieces that we've had many people ask about and just put it right up front for you guys. We have the updated English and Spanish forms for the COVID and income impact forms. We have the new the new income threshold chart, which has been given to you rent assistance people. Our zip code verifier. We have a staffing report checklist, the older Foundant training videos in case you guys want to reference them. We have your rent assistance report checklist right here at the top, along with the expanded ARPA qualifications and your disbursement request link. So you guys can open these at any time during your application, and they'll be right there ready and waiting for you. Since we're doing Edufuturo,
do you want to proxy as someone from Edufuturo Win? That way it's going to be
actually
easier.
that might work. I don't know why I didn't think of doing that, and I'm sorry.
You're fine. That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. Kind of help me guide through this. So, Astromelia, I see you're the one whose name I see the most often on the report. So I'm just going to proxy as you real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit apply. And then ARPA. And then you're going to see we have a whole new report. So here's your usable resources there. And now we're going to run through it as if you're making. Let's see. I know it's making education accessible through if through school B in Spanish. I just cannot remember how to write it. I can spell. And so say we're helping with rent assistance for, let's see. We're gonna write JOVA, since you guys have a way of marking. So you guys will hit rent assistance and then we'll have a whole new thing show up for you guys. Rent assistance is designed to have only a one-time help service up to $10,000. So you guys will either be hitting yes or NA. If you hit NA, it's probably because you want to mark down that you've made maybe outreach or marketing expenses. If you hit NA, it does work and it brings you straight to your value expense. And then you would just upload the supporting documentation, like here's the invoice I paid for the marketing assistance or something like that, and if it's not a staffing cost. So if we go through new client, you'll have two questions pop up. The first question you'll see is our expanded ARPA qualifications. So you will see this question regardless of what you are doing outside of rent assistance, so long as it's with those original top 5. So if you also offer utility assistance, if you offer employment, if you offer childcare, or if you offer emergency shelter, you will also be seeing, or benefits navigation, you will be seeing this as well. All you have to do is just click one of these 3 radio buttons and then another thing will come up. The current renter or eviction status will only show up if you do rent. So let's say that the client is currently residing in a high food insecurity area and they're currently renting but behind on their rent. If your client resides within 20110 or 20111, you guys will need to upload a proof of that Prince William County side residency, because through the Prince William County checker link, I thought I had made that. Yes, that'll be down here. And you guys will be able to upload it down there. So if we say that this person is from 20110, right? Then we'll type the unique identifier again. Let's say there's 4 people in the household with 1 child and 1 senior. And then actually, let's do, yeah, so let's do that. I'm grabbing my notes, I'm sorry.
9071 Center Street is the centrifuge, is where the Alliance is, and we're in City of Manassas. You were going to show.
Okay, so we are 20110. And because you guys use the unique identifier, you only need to write Center Street in this case. For here, it's 20110. So we're going to open up our PWC checker. And I took some time to mess around with this myself to know what I was doing. So in this case, you'll type in the street number 9071.
Yeah, so on the map, they have to select that binocular thing.
Yeah, you have to hit the
yeah.
binoculars.
Yeah, and then, yeah, type the address.
And then there's no unit. And you see how nothing's happening. So if nothing shows up on these results, then that means that it is within Manassas City or Manassas Park. And that means that this person at this address is not eligible. And this is a 20110 address. So where our headquarters is for the Alliance is not in an eligible area. But if we were to do, I know that the other places I know of, the only places I've lived are within Prince William County. So this is not a 20110 address, but I do know this address is a Prince William County address. If you submit something that's within Prince William County, it'll show up on this right-hand side. So if you type in that was not a 20110 address, I know, but if it is one of those two zip codes, 110 or 111, it'll show up on this right-hand side if it's the Prince William side of it.
So
Does
for
that make
any
any
other,
sense?
for any other zip codes, just wanted to add, if there's any confusion. So for any other zip code other than 20110 and 20111, we don't necessarily have to do this part. It's only for those two zip codes. Win is just showing you this ad just to show that if that 20110 and 111 zip code falls in PWC, like which is Prince William County zip code area, then it will pop up like this. It will tell you that this record was matching with PWC. But like the other address for our office, it didn't pop up, means that it doesn't fall in Prince William County, it's in Manassas or Manassas Park. So if that's the case, we are not allowed to service that person. But if their address pops up for Prince William County, then yes, you can move forward with that person. Thank you.
Exactly. I'm just not good at remembering what's in what zip codes. That's why I literally went with one that I know where it is. So then we'll check them off. We'll just check off some boxes. No.
Also, when on that map, what shows if that person is in PWC or not, they have to take a screenshot and upload that file right under that. Just show them that area where they have to upload that.
Yes. So there's a little
So,
upload
yeah.
file here underneath the PWC checker when you start filling out the client information. So say they're in 20110 and they qualify, you would just upload a little file here.
Yeah.
And another piece of good news before I continue is that we've increased the amount of file size we can have on the form. So hopefully you guys won't have to deal with too much trouble getting your files to fit within a certain size in order to upload them. So if they say they had an increased rent or mortgage and reduced income, and say they identify as Hispanic, because I am aware that EduFuturo deals with a lot of Hispanics. We get to hear, this is an important thing. So here's your information submission link for COVID documentation. The COVID documentation is not required unless they do not live within the high food insecurity zip code. If they're 55 and over, you don't need it either. You only need it if they do not live in the high food insecurity zip code, but can provide that access. Yes, Madeline, yay on the increased file size. We were so happy when our friend from Foundant was able to increase that for us. So, QCTs. We're not using these anymore. That is another hassle you do not have to worry about. We're not using QCTs anymore. However, we have to leave it in the form because we've used it in the past. It is an optional question. And so you can just zoom right past it. You don't need to hit no, you don't need to hit yes. You can zoom right past it because you don't need to use it anymore moving forward.
Yeah, it's just for the people who have backlog and they're still working on previous applications. So only them, they're gonna use it. Other than that, any for like future application, we are not using the QCT. So yay.
Exactly. That's another site you don't have to run into anymore. You don't have to use the QCT tracker. You just have to use our Prince William County mapper. That's all it is. So then we'll do a reference number and then say this person was $2,500 behind. Here for this upload, you would show the bill showing that the rent is behind, like how much rent was actually due, and then you'd show the check. That's all you need to show on Foundant here. You would just hit, I'm just going to upload the same file again, just because it's right there. You would just upload that scan of the check, and then you'd show the rent that was overdue. The rest of it, the W-9, the photo ID, the 2 agreements that you guys have in your rent assistance folder that we've shared with you, you guys will put those in the information submission link because those contain sensitive information outside of the client's name and how much they owe. And then you would just hit submit. So I'm gonna,
that's pretty
yeah,
much
I'm
a
just,
rundown for, yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily have to submit it. But if anyone has any question till you are on this page, we should take it. So we
yes.
can go back and reference those. So
Do you guys have any questions
Yeah.
about this so far?
I do. This is Madeline. Hi, everybody. If we don't do anything with that question, the QCT, is it gonna, because normally when we don't check anything, we'll get an error message. When we try to hit submit, we'll get an error message. So even if we get the error, we won't get the error message anymore, I take it.
So you won't get the error message anymore. If you see this question no longer has an asterisk next to it, if it's an
Okay.
asterisk question, that
Okay.
means it'll show
Excellent.
up.
Excellent, excellent. Okay.
No problem.
Nancy,
Yes.
your hand up.
So, to follow up with that, a couple of things.
Mhm.
So the COVID questions, if it doesn't apply, that's an optional question as well. Is that also true?
So you have to at least list the impact, but you do not need to provide the paperwork for it.
So even if they weren't impacted by COVID, we don't need to,
So ARPA is designed for COVID relief. So regardless of if you are providing that COVID impact documentation, they obviously are being affected because they can't afford their rent, right? So all you would have to do is just hit like increased rent for
okay,
this question.
okay. All right. And and then are the people in household, the senior and the Hispanic questions, are those optional as well?
Yes, so like, see, there are no asterisks on
Right,
these. It is
right.
helpful if you fill out these questions though, to help us provide a better demographic understanding. So like, how many people are we helping? What kind of demographics were most affected by COVID when it happened? You know, that kind of thing.
Okay. And then the last is, you said that all that other information, the W-9s and all of that goes under your information submission?
Yes, so this is where you would put like the photo ID, the W-9, the lease agreement, and the verification from the landlord. That would all go in here. The only thing that goes on Foundant is going to be the check and the bill.
Okay. Okay. And I did want to tell other folks who, because I was playing around with that map checker a little bit. And if you don't write the address exactly as it is, it will come up that they are not in Prince William County. And like I made an error in typing, or like you play, I think I put the street or drive up with the name of the street and it came up as invalid. So my suggestion is if it comes up that it's not there, just make sure that you have it entered exactly as the name of the street, or else it'll come up that they're not in Prince William County.
Yes, it did that to me too when I was first playing around with it. So that was a good thing to bring up, Nancy. Because like I typed Center Street up in that top box, and then it was like, oh no, this doesn't exist. The easiest way is to just be careful when you're reading it. I had to do that quite a few times.
And then there is, I'm sorry, one more. So
You're fine.
if a client received utility help in the past and now they're asking for rental assistance, so do we go back to where, is this a new client? We would say no, is that correct?
No, for rent, if that particular client is first time for rent, you will say yes, it's a new client, even though they have maybe received another services, but we haven't helped them with the rent. So for rent assistance, they are a new client. So you will start their application as a first time client.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Tashbia, for answering that.
No problem. Sorry, I don't know, my computer just restarted automatically, so it kicked me off for a little bit, but I'm back.
No, it's okay.
I don't
understand.
know if I missed anything. But any other question on this form? I don't think so. And
All
since
right, so if there's no more questions going forward, I'm gonna run through the other two radio buttons real quick for rent assistance to show you guys the other two pop-ups that'll happen if you hit options 2 or 3. So if your client is 55 years or older, the section called age group 55 plus will show up. All you need to do is type in their birthday. So if the client's birthday is that, all you do is type that in, and then in the information submission link, we'll just cross-check what you typed in this box with what's on their license. And that's all you need to do for that. And then you just go through the form as normal. And if it's the Prince William resident not in a high food insecurity zip code, you just hit that and you'll go through your first time client information, and then you'll upload those financial and COVID impact documentations into the information submission link. Is that, are there any questions concerning that, or do we think we're okay? All right, I think
You're
we're
okay.
okay. So other than that, we have added rent assistance to your staffing area now. So you guys can put any staffing things into your under your rent assistance. That's being covered. So all you have to do is just check this box and you'll move on as normal for your staffing fill out. And that's really all the new changes concerning rent assistance. Does everybody feel confident that they could start using this form very soon? Awesome. All right. Then I think, Peggy, we should be able to. I think everybody's is confident and ready to go.
So is Tashbia going to go through then the other expanded piece? Because these folks, as well as doing rent assistance, are doing.
Yes, most of them do have at least one other category. So basically, Tashbia, do you want to cover that real quick?
If you go back to the same application, I can just.
You're good. let me
If
go
we-
ahead and reshare.
Since you have it open. So other than the
Fine.
rent assistance program, since it's like a brand new branch, we have a little bit change in our other criterias as well. As the first thing I would start with the benefit navigation.
Okay.
People who are and will be doing benefit navigation, we know that for we we only had a thing for our new client and not new client, so we were only doing either yes or no. But if there was any additional cost for benefit navigation service, suppose like a marketing cost, social media, like something like that, or maybe like, you know, you had to buy something, or it could be something that was not considered as a capital expenditure or a grant admin cost, there was really no space to put those expenditures on this form, because when we say NA, we did not really have any other moving parts. Like it really ended the application right there. So what we have gone ahead and did was adding this benefit navigation when you say NA, because it's not a client related cost, something else. You are now able to actually put that value of your expense and upload the necessary documentation, which will actually, you know, help us also know what it was for, because sometimes we had several partners who maybe don't have any capital expenditure, you know, expense, or maybe that's not on also like an admin cost. Where are we gonna put that? So we also had a little bit of hard time figuring out. So now we have this portion where you can actually put that cost here if this is not like a direct client related cost. So that's a new thing with the benefit. Other than that, if we go back to our other service categories, which is utility, childcare, employment, and emergency shelter, things are almost the same. Like there is no big change other than those first three broader criterias. When you say if it's a client residing in a high food insecure zip code, if it's a client who is 55 and older, or if they don't reside in a high food insecurity zip code, but they qualify because they were COVID impacted. So these are the three broader criteria we are going to follow from now on. So if someone is matching with this, so, you know, we will just need that related particular documentation to be submitted. It's kind of almost the same as we were doing it. It's just like our focus is kind of like in these three categories now. But other than that, I would say the form is pretty much the same. Again, we're not using that QCT anymore because that's not a criteria now. It's just there as an optional for people who are working on their backlogs. So anything within that 2 zip code area, we just use that PWC checker, but that's pretty much it. Did I miss anything, Lynn?
I don't think so. So basically the form is now, it's more streamlined, and since we're covering only 3 basic categories, it should make it a lot easier to help more people with whatever needs they may have. And you guys, and this format works for not only rent assistance, but any of the other categories you may have, unless it's mental health or food administration. Those two have not changed.
Yeah, it's only for our first 6 people. But yeah, this is our focus from now, and we have also sent that new expanded criterias to everyone. Hopefully everyone has
Yes.
that. If you don't, please reach out to us. We will provide that again. And if you have any question at any point for, you know, when you're filling out that application, please reach out to one of us. We will be able to help you through that. But yeah, that's pretty much we have new in our bucket, but I feel like this is more streamlined, as Win said. So you will know what you're doing.
And we hope that with all of these new additions, even though it is new and it's a totally mostly unfamiliar frontier we're going into, that with this new application, things will go along smoothly. So without further ado, I think we're done.
I will go.
At least with presenting. If anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to ask now.
Hello.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
I have questions.
Mhm.
With this new platform is specifically for rental assistance, so it's gonna be adding up the amount that we are disbursing based on the clients that we are assisting. Should I have to do another application for the total rent assistance that we are disbursing, or it's gonna be just by client and
so
you are
just
gonna
like-
have the
Okay, I'm sorry, I
Because,
didn't mean to interrupt you.
yeah. So right now we have the added portion of the ARPA grant.
Mhm.
So I submit 2 applications, one for the admin cost and the other one is for the staffing. So besides those 2, should I have to submit another application, or it's gonna be adding up directly with the assistance that the case specialists are doing?
So, just to make sure I understand where you're going with this question, if I've interpreted correctly, is that each category, if it's like, since you do utility assistance and rental assistance, for an example, each of those is a different submission, but so if you have utility assistance, it's its own submission, rental assistance is its own submission, staffing is its own submission. As for will it be adding up, it will not be taking away from the current grant that you have, because the current grant that you have for utility assistance would be still counted against utility assistance.
So
So
we
the
don't
rent
have utility assistance. We have the staffing, which covers the salaries of the persons who are working on the ARPA grant, and then we
Mhm.
have the admin costs. So I submit 2
Okay.
applications every month. One for the staffing, which covers the salaries of the staff working on Prince William County ARPA, and the other one is for our admin costs.
Okay, so
my
this would
question-
not
my-
count.
When
Oh,
Peggy may
Peggy's got
answer.
it. Peggy, I think Peggy understands where you're going with this.
And maybe, and of
Sorry,
course,
please.
a phone call in the middle, but hello. So the other thing, as you're talking about, I'm looking at my list. You guys also do employment? You're listed as
No.
ARPA, under ARPA 2, right?
Yes, that is
Uh,
correct. We do workforce development and navigation services for
I-
case management. That's correct.
So when
I
you're
got them mixed up, I'm sorry.
when you're doing so you've got a checkbox that's for the benefits navigation, you've got a checkbox that's for the education support, and you've got a checkbox right now that's for the staffing for all of that stuff that was round 1, and you have a certain set of money that was applied to you for round 1. Because this rent assistance is another animal and additional funds were provided specifically for rent assistance, and because you got a portion of that funding is for staffing, and I hope this isn't going to make things even crazier for you guys, I'm sorry. The idea was for the staffing, since there's staffing for the rent assistance, since the county said you're going to have somebody specifically as the target person. So they were thinking that then that person's staffing would go under the checkbox rent assistance staffing. So I don't know how you're going to split things out or track that, but that was the intention, was that when you're doing rent assistance for those funds that you have for rent assistance, you're also doing staffing for the rent assistance. Messier, probably, I'm sorry, but that's the way we're thinking of it. And if we need to go back and talk to the county, I could probably even say, but they're going to want to see the money you know, allocating that way. So clearer, yes?
Well, we are gonna right now. I'm submitting the staffing, one application for the staffing to charge the salaries of the person who are working in ARPA grant.
Yes.
And the other application is for the admin costs. So my question is, should I do another application for the rent assistance, or when the case specialists that are working there are doing the application is already counting the amount?
So when you're doing renting staffing, you are gonna do staffing and then you're gonna select that rent assistance option because that specific staff member is working for the rent assistance program only. And that way we can track in our system that, oh, this is only dedicated to rent. The other staffing you're doing must be under like maybe benefit or employment because they're working with those departments. So if you're doing rent, then your focus is gonna be only on rent, saying that, hey, this is a staffing and it's for rent assistance program. So that way we also track your expenditures under rent assistance. Is that clear?
So what I understanding is when they are doing rent assistance, every application is gonna go through you directly. I don't have to do anything like summary of those things.
What kind of summary?
So
I don't have to do
Oh, I
anything
think she
at
means
all,
for the monthly
actually.
follow-ups.
Sorry?
oh,
Do you mean for the monthly report, like where we
Yeah.
follow up with the numbers for
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I'm talking about
Okay,
the
so
monthly.
okay, we're getting somewhere now.
Sorry. I should say monthly report, yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Language barriers happen. That's why we're here to talk it out.
so it wasn't the question of the staffing. Well, and I'm even going to back up and talk about the staffing because you were doing the client reports and then a staffing report. And in my mind, I'm expecting also a rent assistance report and a rent assistance staffing. But I just, yeah, as I'm saying that, I'm realizing you guys, I'm assuming if you sit down with someone and it's, you know, do you need benefits navigation? Do you need rent? Are you able to separate the time? Because it may just be that we can track the numbers on a spreadsheet and just keep all of your staffing in one as long as the money tracking. But I'm not sure how you can do the money tracking. But I know the rent assistance, the county is going to be asking me, how's ARPA round one and how's rent assistance? And I need to be able to identify those pieces. I have not changed the monthly report, but as we're getting to the tail end of the month and a new one will come up, I need to get the rent assistance added in as a separate thing, as a possibility into that monthly piece. So we are definitely going to need you guys to keep track of the rent assistance and that funding and the round one ARPA chunk of money as a separate thing to track. And as a matter of fact, when you're requesting disbursements through the disbursement link, if you could identify rent assistance, if you don't say rent assistance, I'm going to take the money off of your round one. So there's round one and then there's rent assistance. And it's like we've got two awards that we're tracking. Did that help?
So questions, our reference number would be the same, or we have to use one sequentially for rental assistance and continuing for another one we usually use?
The reimbursement link?
No, she's
Sorry?
asking about the reference numbers, like the self-identified reference numbers that they use for Alchemer. I don't think you would need to change those because that's just simply how we're keeping track to make sure that your submissions are lined up with each other. You guys can probably keep your references the same so long as you just mark everything on your form like with the proper checkboxes.
I'm gonna jump in with a question, Win, because you and Tashby are the compliance people. Because you can provide rent assistance and EduFuturo can also provide benefits navigation for other benefits, and they can provide education. So this one person can receive, they can be a new client in all three of those categories. So if that same person has this one unique identifier, as it goes through to Alchemer, do they have to, does it need a unique one, or can Alchemer accept 3 of those with the unique identifier?
So the only one that would need probably a different, like, quote unquote identifier, maybe just adding like the letter A and B to the end of it. Like, say they need benefits navigate, like employment education assistance, like workforce education assistance and rent assistance, because maybe their rent got increased, so they want to try to find a better job to help pay for it, right? So they're behind on their rent, you guys help pay for their rent, and you help them get some workforce assistance to get a job to help better keep themselves stable. You could do, say, 1, 2, 3, 4A, and then 1, 2, 3, 4B, because Alchemer has let you do multiple with the same number, but maybe if you just do that A and B to separate the rent from the workforce, then that'll be sufficient.
Once you get through the Alchemer, we need to make sure that we're looking at the right piece.
Yeah,
as you're,
that's it. That's all it is.
and Jessica,
No,
did
we
I
just
completely mess up that question, or does that make sense of where you were going?
we use the difference in word development for the Prince Williams because we are Prince William. The thing is, if I press service on I forgot the word for rent assistant, and if I press station for what is another one we do?
Employment?
Benefits?
No, employment is Lexis. We do
Navigation
service? Navigation?
navigation service. I'm
Navigation.
sorry about it.
Okay.
You're
If we
fine.
want the navigation service, we have to use a difference on that because Alex used a different one for development, for workforce development. But we have to change it as well.
I don't think you'll have to change it. So long as if they get both of them, like say they do navigation and they do rent assistance, if you can provide enough information to where that one submission can cover both of those objects, then that's completely fine. I mean, I'm okay with that because both of those would be able to provide.
It's going to be 2 uploads, though. One's going to be with the checkbox benefits navigation, and the other one's going to be the checkbox with all the rent stuff. But it can
Yes,
same person, and so the identifier can still remain the same.
the
Okay.
identifier can be the same. Yes.
Hi, Christy.
Yes, Christy.
Yes, I want to make sure we need the same number for navigation service and for rental assistance. We know the number not change in this moment.
It doesn't have to. Your identifier number does not have to change.
Okay, because we need to set 500 for development is 500. It's 1,000 people. The number not change, no change in this moment.
Okay.
Peggy.
Oh, are you talking about like how many people you have to serve?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, exactly. Because one time is for navigation service and other one is for rental assistance. You say that, right?
So,
Okay.
so when you're tracking your numbers,
Yes.
they can count twice.
They can count for both.
So it's not, so one person, it's a person received benefits navigation and a person received education. So that we know that they may be the same number, but you provided that service. So those numbers, you can count them twice. Is that, because I know there was a concern about that at one point, that you could only count them once, but you can count them twice. Is that, you talking about those totals that you were using for your goals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So if somebody gets rent assistance and benefits navigation, it's 1 tally mark per category.
Okay.
Other questions?
All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns? All right, it looks like everybody seems to be on the same page,